This guy, let's call him the Chonki, is seriously intimidating, the kind of dude who gives you chills just looking at him. One of his workers, a young guy, just managed to escape his online gambling scam operation. Basically a prison disguised as a business. Lucky for the guy, he runs right into some cops on patrol. Thinks he's safe, right? Wrong. Chonki is right on his tail, walks right past the cops like they're invisible, pulls out this wicked sharp knife and just casually strolls towards him. He stabs him, seems a little surprised the guy's still standing, then finishes him off with a brutal kick to the chest, right over the heart. Just like that, this cold-blooded, wolf-like dude is Chonki. And his background? Ex-Special Forces. Now he's running this massive online casino in the Philippines, forcing tricked IT guys to write scam code and luring in attractive young women to work as online dealers, all to fatten his own pockets. He doesn't tolerate any competition. If he even gets a whiff of a rival operation, he rallies his crew, hops in his SUV, and goes on a purging spree. Picture this. The SUV rolls up to the rival's place, a bulldozer, conveniently on standby, rips down the gate, and Chonki's crew swarms the place like angry hornets, machetes flashing. Chonki, with his favorite blade, is a whirlwind of stabs, taking down anyone who comes near him. The rival boss, seeing how ferocious Chonki is, realizes he's outmatched. He tries to escape into a warehouse, calling out to his own crew for backup. They come charging out, armed and ready, but Chonki's a one-man army, taking them down one by one. Just when it seems like Chonki might be overwhelmed, the rival boss bursts out with a gun, spraying bullets at Chonki's men. He's feeling pretty confident, thinks he's got the upper hand. Then, bam, Chonki appears out of nowhere, from behind a curtain, and takes him down. Just like that, the bloody purge is over. Chonki gathers up hard drives containing all the customer information and wipes the servers clean. Turns out, Chonki is just a hired gun. The real boss is a guy named Jang, back in Korea. Jang's a big-shot IT guy with a dark side. He lets Chonki run the casino, but every time Chonki asks for his cut, Jang stalls him. Later, buddy, later. Even though Chonki's furious, he has to put up with it. He and his crew need Jang to survive. Now, every good villain needs a good hero, right? Cut to a dark alley in Korea. Two low-level thugs are making a shady drug deal. As they're about to slip away, undercover cops swarm them. Their buddy, waiting on a motorcycle, sees the bus and tries to escape. He revs the engine, but the bike won't budge. A huge, muscular dude has grabbed the back of the bike, grinning. Going somewhere, kid? This, my friends, is the legendary Iron Fist Suk-do. Criminals tremble at the mere mention of his name. He's a monster cop, the protector of the streets. Suk-do and his team, using information from the arrested thugs, locate a nearby drug lab. They kick down the door, only to find another locked steel door. And the drug manufacturers are inside, frantically trying to destroy the evidence, even flushing drugs down the toilet. The cops are panicking, but the door won't budge. Suk-do steps up, tells everyone to back off. He grabs the steel door, strains with all his might, and somehow rips the entire door frame out of the wall. Suk-do arrives at a scene, tells everyone to stand back. He grabs this heavy metal door, muscles bulging, yanks it back and forth a couple of times, and rips the whole damn thing right off its hinges. Unbelievable strength. The bartenders inside are completely dumbfounded, jaws on the floor. These guys were about to go toe-to-toe with the cops, but they didn't realize this squad works under Suk-do. Every single officer on this team is a highly skilled fighter, and Suk-do, he's a one-punch knockout artist, a legend in the precinct. One hit and his opponents are out cold. Later, while checking the phones of the criminals they apprehended, one of Suk-do's colleagues discovers they were using a second-hand goods app to secretly sell drugs. Suk-do immediately orders his team to track down the developer of the app, hoping to find a lead to the bigger fish behind the operation. Turns out, the app developer was murdered in the Philippines a few days prior. Remember that guy Chonki stabbed at the beginning of the movie? That's him. Seeing the young man's body returned home, covered in wounds, Suk-do realizes this case is more complicated than he initially thought. Leaving the morgue, he encounters the victim's grieving mother. She's heartbroken, explaining how her son went to the Philippines for work months ago and vanished without a trace. Now he's back in a coffin. The woman's anguish weighs heavily on Suk-do. Going through the photos stored on the victim's cloud, Suk-do figures out the young man was likely working for an illegal gambling ring in the Philippines, but the details are still fuzzy. So, on orders from his superiors, a special cybercrime unit is assembled. They even bring in a brilliant, beautiful tech expert from the high-tech division to help crack the case. Hoping to glean more information, Suk-do decides to visit the victim's mother again. Tragically, overwhelmed by grief, she takes her own life, leaving behind a note for Suk-do begging him to bring her son's killer to justice. Looking at the plea from this innocent woman, Suk-do vows to root out the evil responsible for this tragedy. With the tech expert on board, the investigation gains momentum. They quickly locate a gambling website called Emperor Casino, but there's a catch. Registering an account requires a hefty deposit. The newly formed cybercrime unit hasn't secured its funding yet, meaning Suk-do has to get creative to come up with the cash. The tech expert, thrilled at the prospect of some fieldwork and eager to witness the legendary detective in action, tags along. Where does Suk-do go to raise funds? A high-end nightclub, of course. Inside, two rival gang leaders are at each other's throats. A territorial dispute about to erupt into a full-blown brawl. Enter Suk-do, who casually interrupts the impending violence. The clueless underlings, failing to recognize the legendary cop, try to get tough with him. This gives Suk-do the perfect opportunity to showcase his unparalleled fighting skills. While the low-level thugs remain ignorant, the gang leaders instantly recognize the force of nature they're dealing with. These tough guys, moments ago ready to rumble, transform into obedient puppies. Suk-do smoothly requests a mediation fee, and they cough up the cash without a word. The tech expert, witnessing this display of power, is utterly stunned, wondering who the real gangsters are. Meanwhile, at Chongqi's hideout, a large truck delivers another shipment of illegal goods that Jang is forcing him to distribute. Frustrated, Chongqi calls Jang, demanding a bigger cut before he moves any more product. Jang impatiently hangs up on him mid-sentence. Chongqi, enraged, lets out a chilling laugh. He decides to fly back to Korea himself to deal with the situation. A return that promises to bring a storm of violence and bloodshed. Back with Suk-do's team, they manage to register a few accounts on Emperor Casino, but the website's IP address keeps hopping around, making it difficult to pinpoint its physical location. The hunt is still on, so the investigation was hitting a wall. A colleague suggested bringing in someone with experience in the gambling world to help, and a brilliant idea pops into Suk-do's head. Cut to a flashy yellow Porsche 911 cruising down the street. Out steps a guy with a Gucci bag, long hair, sunglasses, and a look that screams shady. It's Isu, a recurring character in the Crime City series. Isu's just finished putting some of his underlings in their place when the horn of his precious sports car starts blaring. Someone's messing with it. He's about to unleash a string of curses when he sees who it is. Suk-do, his nemesis. Isu freezes, instantly silenced. He's hauled down to the police station yet again. Now, Isu might look like a con artist, but he knows the underworld like the back of his hand. He's even run online gambling operations before, and he drops a bombshell. Emperor Casino? Just a small branch of a massive money laundering operation in Korea. A tiny piece of the puzzle. He even knows of another gambling den nearby. Suk-do immediately starts planning their next move, and to Isu's surprise, he's brought along. Turns out he's going undercover. Along with the beautiful tech expert, they pose as high rollers, flashing cash and living the good life as they infiltrate the gambling den. With a pocket full of money and a gorgeous woman on his arm, Isu almost blows his cover, getting a little too comfortable in his role. Luckily, he's brought back down to earth before he can reveal his true identity. Whoa there, buddy, what are you doing? You're undercover. Stay cool, man, stay cool. He gets a playful slap from the tech expert for his overenthusiasm, clearly annoyed. Playing his part, he intentionally loses all his money and storms off, feigning frustration. This act proves to be the perfect bait. The casino manager rushes after him, promising a much more exciting game. As expected, he pulls out his phone and introduces them to the Emperor Casino website. Isu, seeing the plan work, discreetly informs Suk-do through his earpiece, "We got a bite, boss." The manager, startled by the earpiece, bolts out of the casino. He's met at the exit by 3 waiting police officers. The manager puts up a fight, grabbing a nearby delivery box and swinging it at the cops. Just when he thinks he might escape, Suk-do arrives, delivering his signature knockout punch. Under Suk-do and Isu's combined interrogation, the manager cracks, revealing his connection to a middleman in Jang's money laundering operation. This middleman, Choi Yu-sung, is due to arrive in Korea within days. Suk-do sets up an ambush at the airport, ready to apprehend Yu-sung the moment he lands. Coincidentally, Chong-ki arrives in Korea on the same day, casually strolling past Suk-do, who's still unaware that this is his true opponent. Yu-sung is taken into custody, but knowing the dangerous nature of his organization, he refuses to cooperate, offering no useful information. Meanwhile, Chong-ki confronts Jang, demanding his share of the profits. Jang, however, isn't about to hand over the money so easily. He tasks Chong-ki with eliminating a stubborn prosecutor who's been causing him trouble. Once that's done, they can talk business. Chong-ki, barely containing his rage, agrees to the job. "You better keep your word this time, Jang." That evening, Jang's lawyer sits in his car, making one last attempt to negotiate with the unyielding prosecutor. He even flashes a stack of 10 million won in cash as a bribe. But the incorruptible prosecutor isn't swayed. He's about to call the police when Chong-ki, who's been waiting outside the car, loses his patience. He rips open the door, stabs Jang's lawyer to death with a swift, brutal move, then shoves the body onto the terrified prosecutor. The prosecutor, witnessing this horrific scene, is paralyzed with fear, trembling as he picks up the blood-soaked bribe money. Chong-ki's actions are a calculated move, a two birds, one stone situation. Intimidating the prosecutor would have been enough, but by killing Jang's trusted associate, he sends a powerful message directly to Jang himself. It's a blatant challenge. Jang understands the message loud and clear, but counters by informing Chong-ki that Choi Yu-sung has been arrested and is likely to rat them all out. He's sending Chong-ki to clean up his mess yet again. The following day, a flood of delivery drivers descends upon the police station, overwhelming the place with food orders that no one placed. The station erupts into chaos, forcing the officers to abandon their work and restore order. Amidst the confusion, Choi Yu-sung sits in the interrogation room, awaiting his lawyer. But it's not a lawyer who arrives. It's Chong-ki, the angel of death. I haven't said anything. Chong-ki has a chilling ritual. He must witness the death of his victims with his own eyes, no matter the location. After confirming Yu-sung's demise, he calmly exits the station. Who else would have the audacity to walk into a police station and commit murder? The body is sent for examination, and the medical examiner discovers that the wounds on Yu-sung are identical to those on the lawyer and the young man killed in the Philippines, the same killer. Suk-do knows the perpetrator has returned to Korea. Further investigation reveals that the murdered lawyer was the registered owner of a cryptocurrency trading company. This company is hosting a celebratory launch party that evening, and Suk-do, along with his colleagues, decides to attend. The true mastermind behind the company is Jang, the star of tonight's event. The party takes place on the 20th floor of a high-rise building. As the elevator reaches the first floor, the doors open to reveal Chong-ki and two of his henchmen. Chong-ki instantly recognizes Suk-do as someone not to be trifled with. Noticing Suk-do is also heading to the 20th floor, he slyly presses the button for the 19th. An eerie silence descends upon the elevator, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Chong-ki glances down at Suk-do's slightly worn sneakers, deducing his profession. Suk-do, in turn, observes the tattoos on Chong-ki's hands, sensing a dangerous criminal. When the elevator reaches the 19th floor, Chong-ki and his men exit. As the doors begin to close, Suk-do stops them with his hand. His instincts scream that something's wrong. He and his colleague follow the two men down the hallway. At the end of the hall are restrooms. Suk-do and his colleagues split up to investigate, each entering a different restroom. Inside the men's room, the colleague encounters Chong-ki, unaware of the imminent danger. He asks for identification, but Chong-ki responds by brandishing his knife, ready to attack. The officer is no match for the former Special Forces soldier, lucky to survive the initial onslaught. He desperately yells Suk-do's name while fending off the relentless knife attacks. Meanwhile, Suk-do is confronted by one of Chong-ki's henchmen. Although the henchman is a capable fighter, he's no match for Suk-do, quickly succumbing to a series of powerful blows. Right now, the second henchman rushes in to help his buddy. He's even less of a match for Suk-do, who slams him into a shattered mirror with a bone-jarring throw. Meanwhile, Chong-ki has forced Suk-do's partner back into a bathroom stall. Just as Chong-ki is about to finish him off, a cleaning lady walks in. Seeing her, Chong-ki changes his plan. He grabs the terrified woman, holding her hostage, and pulls her into another stall to rescue his injured henchman. He cruelly slices her neck with his knife and then escapes with his man. Suk-do is furious but can't abandon the injured woman. He watches helplessly as Chong-ki disappears. Although Chong-ki got away, Suk-do still has the unconscious henchman. Suk-do is seething, and he's not about to let this guy off easy. He puts a motorcycle helmet on the thug's head and delivers a brutal beating, stopping just short of killing him. This encounter finally gives Suk-do a face to go with the name Chong-ki. He learns that Chong-ki was in special forces but was discharged after a mission resulted in heavy civilian casualties. Now, he's running the Emperor Casino. Jang, the casino owner, has heard about the incident. Chong-ki shows up at Jang's party that night to collect his money, but the police arrive, forcing him to flee. Jang decides to stiff Chong-ki on the debt. However, he's terrified of Chong-ki's ruthlessness, so he seeks help from another gangster, Mr. Kwon. Jang promises Kwon control of the casino if he eliminates Chong-ki. After Kwon leaves, Jang stashes hard drives containing customer accounts and server data in his secret vault. While the vault is filled with cash, the most valuable asset is that box of hard drives. Meanwhile, Chong-ki is hiding out in a luxury hotel room. The TV news is reporting on the murders he's committed. His loyal henchman, who has been with him through thick and thin, urges him to return to the Philippines. But Chong-ki refuses. He won't leave until he gets his money. Suddenly, the power cuts out. Mr. Kwon and a large group of thugs burst into the room. Chong-ki, a veteran of countless violent encounters, doesn't flinch. He sits calmly on the sofa, smoking, unervingly composed. Unbeknownst to Kwon, Chong-ki's henchman has locked the door from the outside. They're not running. They're taking everyone in the room down. A ferocious battle erupts. Despite being outnumbered, Chong-ki fights like a man possessed. His knife flashes, a blur of deadly precision. No one can stand against him. His henchman, a fellow Special Forces veteran, is equally formidable. Together, they cut a swathe through Kwon's men in the confined space of the hotel room. Seeing his henchman pinned down by Kwon, who is wielding a lamp as a weapon, Chong-ki rushes in and stabs Kwon in the shoulder. Kwon is clearly defeated, but Chong-ki doesn't kill him. Instead, he starts negotiating a new deal. He's turning the tables, taking everything and then demanding more. But I won't take it all myself. What about you? Alright, Kwon agrees. Jang, meanwhile, is oblivious. He thinks he's outmaneuvered Chong-ki, looking down on him as a brute who relies on fists instead of brains. He arrives at Kwon's territory, confident that Kwon has captured Chong-ki. Before Jang meets Chong-ki, Kwon hands him a pistol. Jang unexpectedly points it at Kwon, apparently as a joke. Kwon looks at him with icy eyes. Jang's arrogance will be his undoing. Jang enters the room with the gun, expecting to find Chong-ki bound and helpless. Instead, he finds Chong-ki calmly smoking a cigarette. Jang isn't too worried, he has a gun after all. What's the admin password? He demands. 159357, you idiot, Chong-ki replies. But the gun is empty. This was a trap. A carefully orchestrated plan by Chong-ki and Mr. Kwon to ensnare Jang. The reality of the situation finally hits Jang, and he's filled with terror as Chong-ki pulls out his favorite knife. Jang's lifetime of playing with fire has finally caught up with him. He's about to pay the ultimate price. Chong-ki doesn't kill him outright. To access Jang's vault, he cruelly cuts off Jang's finger, a punishment for breaking his promise. Leaving the rest to Mr. Kwon, Chong-ki walks away. The men Jang once treated like pawns have now become his executioners. Even in his final moments, Jang shows a flicker of defiance, raising his middle finger at the traitorous Kwon. Then, in a desperate act of rage, he lunges forward and bites Kwon's ear hard. These men, consumed by violence and betrayal, are no longer human. They're demons in disguise. Meanwhile, Suk-do and his team have made significant progress. To locate the gambling and money laundering operation, they send Isu and a large police contingent to the Philippines. They also set up a fake online casino. They know that any new competition will immediately attract Chong-ki's men, eager to eliminate the threat. All they have to do is wait. As expected, Chong-ki's men in the Philippines discover the new online casino. After consulting with Chong-ki, they set off in a convoy, ready to shut it down. But waiting for them at the fake casino is a heavily armed police force, including Filipino Special Forces. The convoy smashes through the gates and roars into the casino. A group of menacing thugs pile out of the vehicles, ready for a fight, only to find the casino empty. Suddenly, smoke bombs explode around them. From every direction, police officers swarm in, surrounding them. The leader of the thugs breaks free and runs into a small room, hoping to escape. Instead, he finds a group of terrified female dealers hiding inside. He grabs one, holding her hostage at knife point. The police are momentarily stumped. Just then, Isu appears silently behind him and delivers a powerful blow to his head. He collapses unconscious. Back at headquarters, Suk-doo receives the news of the successful raid. They've pinpointed the location of the gambling den. The Korean police mobilize and head straight for Jang's residence. Chong-ki arrives at Jang's vault first. He effortlessly opens the door, revealing a room filled with stacks of cash. He ignores the money, heading straight for the box containing the hard drives with the company's client data. To Chong-ki, this is the real prize, the goose that lays the golden eggs. Mr. Kwon, true to his agreement with Chong-ki, doesn't care about the hard drives. He's focused on the cash. He steps aside as Chong-ki takes the box. As Kwon watches his men stuff their pockets with money, Suk-doo and his team storm the place. The thugs are no match for the police and are quickly rounded up. Suk-doo personally delivers some punishing blows. He confronts Kwon, who foolishly pulls a knife, trying to challenge Suk-doo. A couple of well-placed punches from Suk-doo put him down. Under interrogation, Kwon reveals that Chong-ki has just left with the hard drives and is likely heading for the airport. Suk-doo and his team race to the airport. Chong-ki has already arrived and passed through security. The tech specialist on Suk-doo's team quickly identifies Chong-ki's flight. He's bound for Manila, the capital of the Philippines. The plane is just 10 minutes from takeoff. Chong-ki sits comfortably in his seat, a smug look on his face. The flight attendant, after making sure all passengers are seated, closes the cabin door. Chong-ki allows himself a triumphant smile. He's finally pulled it off, he's escaping Korea. But just then, the flight attendant receives an urgent call. It's an arrest warrant. She opens the cabin door again, and Suk-doo appears. Chong-ki hears Suk-doo's voice and his face falls. This guy is like a bad penny. It seems fate isn't finished with them yet. A showdown is inevitable. Suk-doo puts on his gloves. He's going to pound this guy to a pulp, for all the innocent people Chong-ki has hurt, for all the pain he's caused. Payback time is here. The first blow lands and Chong-ki spits blood. He realizes he's underestimated this older cop. Suk-doo fights both Chong-ki and his henchman. The henchman is weaker, but the two of them together manage to land some solid hits on Suk-doo. For a moment, he's trapped, taking a beating. But Suk-doo is incredibly tough, able to take a punch as well as he delivers one. He blocks their attacks, waiting for the right moment to strike back. During the struggle, Chong-ki grabs the oxygen mask hose and wraps it around Suk-doo's neck. But this doesn't faze the monster cop. He breaks free in a flash, delivers a crushing blow that breaks Chong-ki's rib, and then sends the henchman flying with another punch. The two criminals finally understand just how powerful this cop is. Suk-doo decides to eliminate the henchman first. After knocking him out, he turns back to find Chong-ki gone. Just as Suk-doo starts searching, Chong-ki attacks with a bottle. The final, brutal fight begins. Chong-ki, like a cornered wolf, fights with desperate ferocity. He knows he has to take down Suk-doo to survive. He grabs a dinner knife, and with a weapon in his hand, he becomes even more dangerous. He manages to stab Suk-doo several times, turning the tide of the fight. He lunges again, but Suk-doo catches the blade in his hand. In a moment of intense effort, Suk-doo grits his teeth and breaks Chong-ki's wrist, then launches his counterattack. A series of devastating blows sends Chong-ki crashing to the floor. Looking up at Suk-doo, he lets out a strange laugh. Suk-doo has finally defeated his enemy. He's injured, but he's fulfilled his promise, avenging the victim's mother's death. There will always be darkness in the world, but righteous individuals like Suk-doo will continue to fight against it, using their iron fists to protect the innocent. Wasn't that a great movie? Thanks for watching.